When the companion of the Prophet, peace be upon him, entered a town to bring them the message of Islam, he put it very beautifully. He said, "I have come to free you from the slavery of the slave and bring you to the slavery of the Lord of the slave." Within this statement lies a powerful treasure. Locked within these words is the key to empowerment and the only true path to liberation. You see, the moment you and I allow anything other than our Creator to define our success, our failure, our happiness, or our worth, we have entered into a silent but destructive form of slavery. That thing which defines my self-worth, my success, or my failure is what controls me, and it becomes my master. The master which has defined a woman's worth has taken many forms throughout time. One of the most prevalent standards made for women has been the standard of men. But what we so often forget is that God has honored the woman by giving her value in relation to himself, not in relation to men. Yet as some ideologies erased God from the scene, there was no standard left but men. As a result, the woman was forced to find her value in relation to a man, and in so doing, she had accepted a faulty assumption. She had accepted that men are the standard, and thus a woman can never be a full human being until she becomes just like a man, the standard. What she didn't realize was that God dignifies both men and women in their distinctiveness, not in their sameness. When we accept men as the standard, suddenly anything uniquely feminine becomes by definition inferior. Being sensitive is an insult. Becoming a full-time mother, a degradation. In the battle between stoic rationality, considered masculine, and selfless compassion, considered feminine, rationality reigned supreme. But a Muslim woman does not need to degrade herself in this way. She has God as the standard. She has God to give her value. She doesn't need a man to do this. Given our privilege as women, we only degrade ourselves by trying to be something we're not, and in all honesty, don't want to be, a man. As women, we will never reach true liberation until we stop trying to mimic men and value the beauty in our own God-given distinctiveness. And yet in society, there is another prevalent master which has defined for women their worth. And that is the so-called standard of beauty. Since the time we were little, we as women have been taught a very clear message by society. And that message was, be thin, be sexy, be attractive, or be nothing. So we were told to put on their makeup and wear their short skirts, instructed to give our lives, our bodies, our dignity for the cause of being pretty. We came to believe that no matter what we did, we were worthy only to the degree that we could please and be beautiful for men. So we spent our lives on the cover of Cosmo, and we gave our bodies for advertisers to sell. We were slaves, but they taught us that we were free. God says in the Quran, "Verily, the most honored of you in the sight of God is the one who is the most righteous." So you are honored, but it is not by your relationship to men, either by being them or pleasing them. Your value as a woman is not measured by the size of your waist or the number of followers on Instagram. And so I ask you to unlearn. I ask you to stand up and tell the world that you are a slave to nothing, not to fashion, not to beauty, not to men. You are a slave to God and God alone. I ask you to tell the world that you're not here to please men with your body. You're here to please God. So to those who mean well and wish to liberate you, just smile and say, "Thanks, but no thanks." Tell them you're not here to be on display, and your body is not for public consumption. Make sure that the world knows that you will never be reduced to an object or a pair of legs to sell shoes. You are a soul, a mind, a servant of God, and your worth is defined by the beauty of that soul, that heart, that moral character. Therefore, in answering the question of where and how a woman can find empowerment, I find myself led back to the statement of our Prophet's companion, that true liberation and empowerment lies only in freeing oneself from all other masters, all other definitions, all other standards. As Muslim women, we have been liberated from this silent bondage. We don't need society's standards of beauty or fashion to define our worth. We don't need to become just like men to be honored. And we don't need to wait for a prince to save or complete us. Our worth, our honor, our salvation, and our completion lie not in the slave, but in the Lord of the slave.